அமரத்துவ கதைக்கு அனைவரையும் வரவேற்கின்றோம். ஒரு அதிசயமான உலகத்தை நீங்கள் நுழைகிறீர்கள். அமைதி, அன்பு, விவேகம் இவை அனைத்தையும் நீங்கள் அனுபவம் செய்ய போகிறீர்கள். உங்களுடைய உண்மை சொரூபத்தை உணர
To take maximum benefit from this series, we recommend the following important tips. Sit in a quiet place where you can be alone for an hour.
அமைதியான ஒரு இடத்தில் அமருங்கள். தனிமையாக இருந்தால் நல்லது.
With no distractions.
உங்களுக்கென நேரத்தை ஒதுக்குங்கள். எந்த விதமான தொந்தரவும் இல்லாத ஒரு இடத்தில் அமர்ந்து நேராக அமருங்கள். கீழே உட்கார்ந்தாலும் சரி, நாற்காலியில் அமர்ந்தாலும் சரி. உங்களுக்குள்ள செல்லக்கூடிய சக்தி உங்களால் உணர முடியும். உங்கள் மொபைல் சைலண்ட் மோடில் போட்டுக்கொள்ளவும். அடுத்த 1 மணி நேரத்திற்கு உங்களுடைய கேமரா ஆனில் வைக்கவும். பேச்சாளர்களுடைய பேச்சு மட்டும் பதிவு செய்யப்படும், மற்றவர்கள் யாரும் பதிவாகாது. 5 மொழிகளில் மொழி பெயர்க்கப்படுகிறது. லாங்குவேஜ் இன்டர்பிரேஷன் என்னக்கூடிய அந்த ஆப்ஷனில் இருந்து இந்த 5 மொழிகளை நீங்கள் ஒன்றை செலக்ட் செய்யுங்கள். வீடியோக்கள் இன்னும் மேற்கொண்டு விஷயங்களுக்கு இந்த ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் நீங்கள் செய்து கொள்ளலாம். ஓம் சாந்தி. அமரத்துவ கதைக்கு அனைவரையும் வரவேற்கின்றோம். இன்று அத்தியாயம் 3. அமரத்துவ கதை இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி உங்களுக்குள் இருக்கக்கூடிய விஷயங்களை வெளிச்சத்துக்கு கொண்டு வரும். சில காட்சிகள், சில தியான பயிற்சிகள் அளிக்கப்படும். 15 நிமிடங்களுக்கு இப்பொழுது ஒரு சீனியர் டீச்சர்னுடைய பகிர்வு உங்களுக்கு அளிக்கப்படும். 2 தியான பயிற்சிகள், 2 பிபிடி ஷோ உங்களுக்கு காண்பிக்கப்படும். அமரத்துவ கதையிலிருந்து கடைசியாக 10 நிமிடங்கள் நீங்கள் ஏதேனும் கேள்விகளை கேட்கலாம். இந்த உலகத்தில் நீங்க எங்கிருந்தாலும் சரி வரவேற்கிறோம். இந்த அத்தியாயம் 3 அமரத்துவ கதையின் பாகத்திற்கு அனைவரையும் வரவேற்கிறேன். அடுத்து நாம் பார்க்க போவது சிஸ்டர் ஜூடி அவர்கள் நம்மிடம் அவருடைய அனுபவங்களை பகிர்ந்து கொள்வார். அவர் இந்த அமரத்துவ கதையினுடைய டீச்சிங்ஸ் பிராக்டிஸ் பயிற்சி செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார். அவர் எங்களுடைய ரிட்ரீட் சென்டர் பீஸ் வில்லேஜ் நியூயார்க்கில் வசித்துக் கொண்டு வருகிறார். அவர்கள் கம்யூனிகேஷன் கன்சல்டாகவும் வேலை செய்கிறார். நன்றி ஷெரீன். அனைவருக்கும் ஹலோ. உங்கள் அனைவரும் பார்ப்பது மகிழ்ச்சியாக இருக்கிறது. உங்களோடு இருப்பவும் நன்றாக இருக்கிறது. உங்களிடம் ஒரு கேள்வி நாங்கள் கேட்கிறோம். என்னுடைய கேள்வி என்னென்றால், உங்களுக்கு இன்று பரமாத்மாவை பற்றி நாம் பேச இருக்கின்றோம். நீங்கள் முதலில் வரும்பொழுது பிரம்மகுமாரிகள் இடம் பரமாத்மாவை பற்றிய அனுபவம் என்ன உங்களிடம்? முதல் ஏற்பட்ட
Well,
அனுபவம்
actually,
என்ன?
I thought I was going to break a rib, but I'll explain to you. So, when I was searching, I wasn't searching for God.
நான் தேடிக்கொண்டிருந்தேன்
I was
இதற்காக.
searching for truth.
உண்மையை
I
நான்
wanted to
தேடிக்கொண்டிருந்தேன்.
understand sort of what is
நான் அதை
this
புரிந்து கொள்ள
or who
விரும்பினேன்.
are we?
அது ஒரு
What's
பெரிய
going
கதை.
on? And
நான்
I had
யார்?
read
என்ன
for
நடந்து
decades
கொண்டிருக்கிறது?
lots of lectures and talks and
நான் பல
lots of
சொற்பொழிவுகள்,
books
பல
and
பேச்சுக்களை நான் கேட்டிருந்தேன்.
so by the time that that I got this invitation, I actually got an invitation to come
நான் ஒரு
meet.
அழைப்பு எனக்கு
I thought
கிடைத்தது.
the invitation was to come meet somebody named Dottie Jenkins.
தாதி
which I
ஜானகி
felt
என்று
great
பெயர்
about
கொண்ட
because
சில
I've been meaning
ஒருத்தரை
to meet her
சந்திப்பதற்காக
for
எனக்கு ஒரு இன்விடேஷன் கிடைத்தது.
whoever she is. I'm happy to meet her. So I drove out to a suburb. I was in Chicago at the time.
சிகாகோவில் இருந்தேன் அந்த நேரத்தில்.
And met a bunch of people I did not know. And then at a certain point, everyone was invited to sit in a circle and introduce
ஒரு சில குரூப்
themselves, which we did. I don't remember anybody who was there, although I probably know them all.
வட்டத்தில் அமருமாறு
And I
கேட்டுக்கொள்ளப்பட்டோம்.
met 3 people who were in white saris, and I hadn't been around the Indian community much. So I met Dadi Janki,
நான்
not
தாதி
Dadi
ஜானகியை
Jenkins, who
சந்தித்தேன்.
was then the head of the Brahma Kumaris. Actually,
அந்த
she
நேரத்தில்
she
பிரம்ம
ran Brahma
குமாரிகளுக்கு
Kumaris
நிர்வாகியாக
activities
இருந்தவர்.
outside of India. I met Sister Mohini,
இந்தியாவிற்கு வெளியில்
the
இருக்கக்கூடிய அனைத்து
additional
நாடுகளுக்கும்
Brahma Kumaris,
தலைவர்
and I
நிர்வாகியாக
met Sister
இருந்தவர்.
Genti, who runs the Brahma Kumaris activities in Europe and the Middle East. I liked them very much. And I had been sort of shopping, you might say. So then it was
நான்
made clear that Dadi Janki was going to speak, and she opened her
தாதி
mouth
ஜானகி
and
ஜெயந்தி அதை மொழிபெயர்த்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார். அவர் சொன்னார், நான் உண்மையை பற்றி பேச போகிறேன். ஆக இது எவ்வளவு துல்லியமாக இருக்கிறது. அவர் உண்மையை பற்றி பேச போகிறாரே. அவர் கேட்டது எனக்கு மிகவும் பிடித்திருந்தது.
And at the end of her talk, I said to my friend and then to Dottie, why did this take so long? Because I had been looking for so long, and instantly something
பல
about
நாட்களாக
her
நான் இந்த
made
உண்மையை
me
பற்றி
feel,
நான்
and what
தெரிந்து
she
கொள்ள
said
இருந்தேன்.
made me
ஆனால்
feel
அவள்
that this
கூறியது
really is what I
எப்படி
was
இருந்தது
looking for.
என்றால்,
So
இதைத்தான் நான்
Dottie
எதிர்பார்த்து
invited me to come to
கொண்டிருந்தேன்
the
என்பதை அந்த
center
நேரத்தில்
each
நான்
day.
உணர்ந்தேன். அவர்
It
உணர
turned out to
வைத்தார்.
be a 10-minute drive from my house. And anyone who knows Chicago knows that's highly improbable because it's a big, sprawling city. So I went there the next day, and
அடுத்த நாள் நான் அங்கு சென்றேன்.
they explained that they were going to do something called Rocky. I had no
அவர்கள்
idea what they were
ராக்கி
talking
என்று
about.
ஏதோ
They said, no
சொன்னார்கள்.
problem, you don't need to know anything. You
எனக்கு அதை
just
பற்றி
when the
தெரியாது
chant
என்று சொன்னேன்.
begins,
அவர்கள்
you're going
பரவாயில்லை,
to
உனக்கு தெரியவில்லை
go to
என்றாலும்
Dadi
பரவாயில்லை.
Janki, and you're going to
நீங்கள்
put your wrists crossed, and
ஜானகியிடம்
she's
நீங்கள்
going
செல்ல
to
வேண்டும்.
press
நீங்கள்
on your
கையை
wrist.
நீட்டி காண்பிக்க வேண்டும்.
And I said,
அவர்கள்
well, that's
உங்கள்
easy
கையில்
enough,
ஒரு
right?
கயிறை கட்டுவார்.
It's too
எவ்வளவு
big.
சுலபம் அல்லவா?
And then they said, okay, but until then, we're going to meditate. So I closed my eyes. I didn't know that
அது
everyone
வரைக்கும்
else in
நான்
the West,
தியானம்
their eyes
செய்து
were
கொண்டிருக்க
open
வேண்டும்.
because they do open-eyed meditation. But I'm peeking out every now and then to see when it's my time to go.
எப்பொழுது என் நேரம் வரும் என்று நான் காத்துக் கொண்டிருந்தேன்.
And I go up to Dadi Janki. She was a
அவர்கள்
very
இப்படி
tiny
சைகை
person, so in order to
காண்பித்தவுடன்
get you
நான்
first out, you had to kind
அவர்
of be
ஜானகி
on your knees
தாதியிடம்
to
அருகில்
see
சென்றேன்.
below where she
அவர்
was.
கொஞ்சம்
I got
குள்ளமாக
the first
இருந்தால்
out, and I was
நான்
looking at her
கொஞ்சம்
eyes, and she
குனிந்து
looked
அவரை
me
பார்த்தேன்.
right in
அவர்
my
கண்களை
eyes and
பார்த்தேன்.
said,
அவரும் என்
and then
கண்களை
my heart
பார்த்தார்.
started racing,
என்னுடைய
and
இதய
I
துடிப்பு
became
அதிகமானது.
short of breath. And then
என்னால்
I
மூச்சு
saw,
கூட விட
I don't know
முடியவில்லை.
how to explain it. I saw like an
என்னால அதை பற்றி
outpouring
எதையும் விளக்கம்
in front
அளிக்க
of me. It
முடியவில்லை.
was a little bit like a
அவர்
fountain of light.
எனக்குள்
Today
அந்த
we might say a fountain of light.
ஃபவுண்டன் போல எனக்கு அந்த
And
ஒளி என்னிடம் அடைந்து
I
கொண்டே
couldn't
இருந்தது
really think
அவரிடம்
anything.
இருந்து.
She's tying this
நான்
bracelet
எதுவும்
on. I'm also
யோசிக்கவில்லை.
seeing kind of her eyes, but I'm also seeing this fountain of light. And
அவர்
I'm feeling
கண்களையும்
this
பார்க்கிறேன்.
rush
அந்த
of
லைட் என் மீது
just this
படிந்திருப்பதையும் நான் உணர்கிறேன்.
waterfall of love enter my heart while I'm
அருவி போல என் மீது விழுவதை நான் உணர்ந்தேன். அன்பின் அருவி விழுவது போல இருந்தது. நான் எழுந்து பிறகு சிஸ்டர் ஜெயந்தி நான் போனேன். எனக்கு பிளெஸிங் கார்டு கொடுப்பதற்காக அவர் இருந்தார். மீண்டும் எல்லாம் நார்மலாக வந்தது. இது என்னது அது? மற்றவர்களையும் நான் பார்த்தேன். அனைவரும் இது போன்ற அனுபவம் அடைகிறார்களா என்று மற்றவர்களையும் நான் பார்த்தேன். நான் இது என் மீது மிகவும் பாதிப்பை ஏற்பட்டது. அடுத்த நாள் நான் சென்றேன் அங்கு. எனக்கு என் சொன்னேன், சரி அடுத்த 7 நாட்கள் தொடர்ச்சியாக நான் ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் போனேன். அந்த அனுபவம் அதுக்கப்புறம் எனக்கு கிடைக்கவில்லை. ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் கடவுளிடம் தொடர்பு கொண்டு என்னுடைய இதயம் அது போன்று நின்றதான அனுபவம் எதுவும் அதுக்கப்புறம் பெறவில்லை. நான் ஒரு சூக்ஷ்மமான அனுபவங்கள், ஆன்மீக அனுபவங்கள், இதுதான் ஆத்மாக்கள் அதன் தந்தை பரமாத்மாவுடன் பல நாட்களாக தேடிக்கொண்டிருந்ததால் ஏற்படக்கூடிய அனுபவமாக இருக்கின்றது. அன்னைக்கு அது இடைபெறவில்லை என்றால், கடவுள் அன்று எனக்கு அந்த மாதிரி அனுபவம் கொடுக்கவில்லை என்றால், 6 மாதத்துக்கு பிறகு நான் இன்னும் வேறு ஏதாவது இடத்தை தேடிக்கொண்டிருந்திருப்பேன். நான் உண்மையை தான் அறிய விரும்புகிறேன். ஆனாலும் நான் அன்பை தேடிக்கொண்டிருந்தேன் என்பது எனக்கு தெரிந்தது.
This very important element that you're talking about.
நீங்கள் ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயத்தை சொன்னீர்கள்.
That you have to go into a very quiet place. And so what is it that made you, in what experience of that subtle dimension? Because obviously when you decided to change your life or move to Peace Village, or so many changes happened in your life since then, right? Your life was going in a certain trajectory and then it changed course. So every time you had to make a decision, what was it that, give us like 1 or 2 highlights of decisions you made, and what was the experience that made you make the choices you made?
Well, there's a famous book on religion by William James, and he talks about conversion. What happens to people when they suddenly decide their spiritual life is important?
Right.
And what happens is, before that, the world of material things is most interesting. And so in Chicago, I was driving very nice cars, living in very nice places, working in very high-level jobs, and I was really bored. I mean, I had nice theater tickets and all of that kind of thing, and it just wasn't very interesting. So I found it no trouble at all. My spiritual life became, and that, as William James explains, what happens when this goes on is suddenly the inner life becomes fascinating. The world of thoughts and feelings and memory and all of this inner dynamic becomes very, very interesting, very compelling. It wasn't a struggle. I don't remember struggling over anything. When they said don't eat meat, I thought, fine, I didn't like it that much anyway. I didn't quite understand the onions and garlic request, but that's all right too, whatever. I was so in love with the experience of this elevated thing that was happening. Now, I would say that I don't think you can really touch God in a meaningful way without being in a state of being soul conscious. I had perfect attendance pins running down my chest when I was a kid. I used to pray every night. I mean, I already was liking the whole religious thing, but I need this, or I want this, or I need this help, or I need this support, kind of generally calling out. Now, I think God loves those of us who do that. I think he hears us, and I different from that. Because when I am experiencing myself to be subtle energy, the soul behind the eyes, not just this being of light, from that place, now I'm in a subtle awareness, right? I've turned my attention inside. I'm no longer thinking about theater tickets and new cars and all of those kinds of things. Now I've turned inside. And now I'm interested in what kind of a space, what kind of an ashram, what kind of a peaceful room can I create inside? So I'm focused inside, and I see what's going on in my heart. I feel what's going on in my mind. I feel memories come and go. I sense all these things that are going on. And in that state, as I learn to quiet the mind and quiet the heart, and now I'm just there, I'm aware of my breath. My thoughts are very, very slow, and I'm quiet. Place. Now I turn my attention to the divine. I turn my attention to God. From that place, I'm not just a body calling out to him. I am this subtle spirit, this subtle being, and I am making a connection with him or her or it. Because honestly, souls, as you would have already heard, don't have a gender. So it's not about he's the father or whatever. It's the source of life. It's the source of virtue.
Sorry to interrupt you, Judy, but I do have a question. So was that your experience? Is that what made you change the way you were going about? Let's say, what made you decide that you want to move to Peace Village and live in a, in that community, in that ashram? It's kind of like an ashram.
I don't think of it like that, Shireen. The way I think of it is, imagine if you walk past a fudge shop. Have you walked past a shop where they're making chocolate inside?
Yes.
And you're on the sidewalk, and suddenly you turn your head and you can just smell that chocolate smell out on the sidewalk. And you cannot help yourself. You have to walk in and buy some fudge. Right. That's the way it was. Once I had that experience, that fragrance, that companionship, that elevated feeling, was I going to be excited about getting another car? I didn't care what I drove. None of those. It wasn't a decision point. It wasn't. I never thought, well, shall I go to class or shall I go out to brunch? I never thought that. I was so attracted. All I could think of was, why did this take so long?
Right.
Why did this take so long? Given that I was searching, why did it take this long to find this most precious experience? And now that I've found it, let me do everything I can to keep myself close to that. That was the only thing. So there were no decisions.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So did you hear that, folks? All we need to do is have an experience and the rest will take care of itself.
It's like when you fall in love, right? It's just like when you fall in love. It's like you fall in love with God. All right. Hope this is helpful. It's been lovely to be with you. Enjoy your time.
So next we will do a PowerPoint and then a meditation. So today, as you might have guessed, and the email suggested, while it's coming on, I want to share with you when I first had an experience of the Supreme Soul. It really was, everything fell into place. And so, and the experience of the Supreme Soul is not like the like that. You really have to access a different dimension. And to be able to access that dimension, you have to become soul conscious. So one of the things we need to both. You have to know the Supreme Soul as he is, and you have to know yourself as you are. So I feel actually you need to do three things. You need to, four things. And you have to understand the soul as she or he is. And then you have to understand your enemy, which we will get into later. So one of the things, the first thing is all spiritual beings of light. That is who we are. We are all spiritual beings of light. And then the Supreme Soul is also a spiritual being of light. And the Supreme Soul, there's one difference between the Supreme Soul and the soul. So the soul comes into the cycle of birth and death. That is, all of us souls come into the cycle of birth and death. And the Supreme Soul of the cycle of birth and death. The reason I'm calling the Supreme Soul he is because of social upbringing. If you want to call him she, that's fine. The Supreme Soul does not have a gender, just like souls don't have a gender. The bodies have a gender. So the Supreme Soul the Supreme Soul is an ocean. So when we say ocean, we mean spiritual ocean. Spiritual ocean is something that and so the Supreme Soul is an ocean of different qualities, the ocean of knowledge or wisdom, the ocean of peace, the ocean of love. And also, because we come into the cycle of birth and death, we come into impurities. The soul becomes less pure. So always the ocean of knowledge, always the ocean of love, always the ocean of purity, and always the ocean of peace and happiness. Is the form of light, is a being of light. And so to be able to come, this is the most important aspect of today's session, to be able to come close to the Supreme Soul and to be able to do that, you have to know yourself as you are, how you are. So when you stabilize yourself as a soul, then you will about different relationships. Like I was saying, he's incorporeal. And you cannot see the Supreme Soul with these physical eyes. Conscious you become, the more you will feel the Supreme Soul's presence in your life. The more you will feel his attributes, like his love and his peace and all of that. And so the smaller and larger and all of that, the Supreme Soul is always, always a luminous, tiny point of light. And in that luminous, tiny point of light are all of these attributes. The attribute of love, ocean of love, and so this is another important aspect of the Supreme Soul. So we all are here, right? Inside, in the center of the forehead, inside. The Supreme Soul abode. So the Supreme Abode is above and beyond the physical world. So you have the sky and the physical world, the galaxies, the Milky Way, all of that. And that is actually infinite space. But beyond that, when you become soul conscious and you go there in your mind's eye, then you access the Supreme Abode. And it's a place of absolute. And so it's important to note that the Brahm element is not God or the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul lives in this space, in this Brahm element. And in our meditation, that's what we will do. We will access this soul world. So it is a land beyond sound. So in the physical world, we have sound, like you can see on the screen. The dark blue portion is the physical. And that is where the Supreme Soul lives, and it's beyond sound. There is not even a sound of a thought. All souls live in the Supreme Abode with the Supreme Soul, and so we call it our home, our sweet home. And so I want you to just try your best to have a meditation, okay? So sit back. And I want you to visualize yourself as a being of light traveling through the sky. You're a tiny, tiny point of light traveling through the sky. Just like a shooting star, keep rising up and up. And keep going through the Milky Way, through the galaxies. Just keep going. And you slowly visualize yourself in a region of golden orange light. Just remember that you're traveling with your visualization, with your mind's eye. And so see yourself in this region of orange, luminous light. You are a tiny point of light traveling. And at the apex, right on top, you see the Supreme Soul. And like a magnet, you get pulled to the Supreme Soul. And while you are connecting to the Supreme Soul as a being of light, and the Supreme as a being of light, you feel a sense of peace and belonging. You belong to the Supreme. As you are what you are. And you feel so connected to this ocean of love, this ocean of peace. The ocean of wisdom. This is the land of peace. And you are peace. Just be here for a few moments. Just see yourself as a soul, as a luminous light, a point of light. And the Supreme Soul as luminous light. Just breathe in the peace that you're feeling here. And when you are ready, slowly glide back down as this being of light. And you come down gently back to here and now. Totally refreshed. With determination that you will practice this again and again and again. Om Shanti, I am peace. Om Shanti, everyone. You know, when in the Brahma Kumaris we talk about the Supreme Soul, it might not be all of your concepts of the Supreme Soul or God, right? It might not be your concept of God. But I want you to try this. I want you to experiment with this. I want you to keep all of your disbelief or doubts, whatever, on the shelf and just try it. Sounds good? I just do the meditation, just see yourself as a soul, because just remember, to be able to access the spiritual world, whether it is the Supreme Soul, whether it's your own attributes, whatever it is, to be able to access, you have to be able to go within. And you have to be able to become spiritual. And spiritual means nothing of the physical world. Nothing in the spiritual world you can see with these eyes, including the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul can be understood, cannot be seen. The soul can be understood. The soul cannot be seen. I'm waiting for the second PowerPoint to come on. And so, one of the things that everyone in this world, right? There are a lot of, you could say, studies out there in this world which talk about belonging. And how, if you have belonging, you know, people who belong to, you know, families, they do better in school versus those who don't have a family, things like that, right? And so it's important to understand that the praise of God, one of the best things is that he has a sense of belonging to everyone. And so because he's ever pure, he's unlimited, he's the ocean of all virtues, the ocean of all powers, and the ocean of knowledge. And so because of all of this, because he's the truth, his sense of belonging, he's the almighty authority, means he has all of the spiritual powers. And because of this, we belong to him. Our souls belong to him, and he belongs to us. And this sense of belonging, right? When does this sense of belonging begin? And so for life after life, you don't know, but I'm sure the Supreme Soul knows, and this is the revealed teachings that we have of the Brahma Kumaris. And what the revelations tell us is that life after life after life, we have been calling out, you know, come and, you know, take us away from whatever is going on in the world, come and liberate me from this, or come and give me a new relationship, or come and give me a child, or whatever it is. No, we have been unknowingly calling out to purify us, to make us happy, all of those things. So we all want happiness, we all want peace, and we have been calling out saying we want happiness, we want peace. Then my question to you is, to really experience happiness and to really experience peace, what are you willing to do? I want you to think about that. And so when you think about what is it that I'm willing to give up to experience happiness, then you realize that, yes, I have to give up something. And so my thing is, I have to give up the vices. And I have to accept, I have to recognize, I have to understand, and I have to accept the Supreme Soul. And so how can we understand, recognize, and accept the Supreme Soul? Is when we realize the attainments we have from him, that he's the ocean of love. He comes and gives us the gift of a brand new world. He is our mother, he is our father, he liberates us, he guides us. And so all of these things he does. And so what is it that I have to do? So I'm getting a gift. So what is the gift I have to give? So I have to become soul conscious, and I have to connect with the Supreme Soul. Because our destination is to go back home to the soul world. That is where we have to go back. And so we have to become soul conscious and go back home. And so one of the things is the Supreme Soul says a lot of things. Remember, I said these are revealed teachings. And in these revelations, the Supreme Soul says, you're the jewel of my eyes, you're a sparkling diamond, you are the most beautiful decoration of my eyes, you know, all of that, right? And so then what am I doing? There are just two things you have to do. You know, he says, you're my long lost and now found children, all of that. There are just two things you have to do. And those two things are, you have to understand and you have to accept. So what are we understanding and what are we accepting? So we have to understand who the Supreme Soul is. We have to understand that the Supreme Soul has come to meet me. And I have to recognize this, that recognition comes, the understanding and recognition go hand in hand. And then I have to accept, yes, you are my Supreme Soul. You are my Supreme Father, Supreme Soul. I belong to you and you belong to me. And with that understanding and acceptance, a whole universe opens up to you. And because the Supreme Soul does not come into the cycle of birth and death, like, so when we come into the cycle of birth and death, we have all of these layers of vices and masks and the roles we played. So it's all jumbled up. Everything is jumbled up. We don't have peace. We don't have clarity. We don't have any of those. The Supreme Soul, on the other hand, because doesn't have any of these things going on, the Supreme Soul is very clear. And so Supreme Soul is the only one, only God can meet us with this awareness that, and rekindle a memory, because we are actually meeting again. This is not our first meeting. In the lesson on the cycle of time, we can talk about why we say this is not our first meeting, but we have to rekindle this awareness, this memory that yes, you are the same one and I am the same soul. And I can have everything you have if I have awareness, recognition, awareness, understanding, and acceptance. And so with that, let's have a few minutes of meditation. So again, take a deep breath in and out. And gently relax into being a luminous point of light, into your true original awareness of a soul. And this awareness opens up a whole universe for you. So you recognize yourself as a soul, as a spiritual being of light. Then you come into the awareness and see yourself as a spiritual being of light. And you understand who you are as a light, eternal soul. With that understanding and acceptance, you slowly become aware of the most beautiful being in the entire universe, the ultimate one, the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is right here, present in this spiritual universe. Present for you. And with your heart, you say to the Supreme Soul, you, the soul, say to the Supreme Soul, I accept you. I accept you as my guide, as my liberator, as my parent. You are a being, a luminous, self-luminous being of light, the ocean of love and knowledge. And I accept you as you are, how you are. And when you do this from your heart, when you say mine from your heart opens up and you feel the presence of the ocean of love, the ocean of wisdom and peace. There is such a sense of belonging, of being loved, of feeling safe and secure. And with this sense of security and safety and peace and love, you come back to here and now, feeling awakened and ready to explore the Supreme Soul more. Om Shanti. I am peace.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Sister Shireen. That was wonderful.
Om Shanti, everyone. So I hope you're ready with your questions. So how are you doing, Sister Dorothy?
I am just grand, and I have a question for you already, and I'm sure more questions will be coming in. But this question, someone's asking, you talked about the place of residence, a world of light. Is that heaven?
No, no, good question. It's not. So in our understanding, in our teachings, like I mentioned before, they're revealed teachings, the revelations show that the soul world or the place of residence is where souls go to rest. And then heaven or the golden age will happen on earth. And we can get into more details of that in our session on the cycle.
Okay. So you can put your questions in the chat box. If you have any questions, please do that. Okay, here is one more. The picture that you showed of the golden age, is that something like the Garden of Eden?
Yes, yes. It is. So the golden age in every culture, in every religion has a name. Like in Hinduism, it's called Vaikunth. In some places, it's called the lost city of Atlantis. And in the Bible, it's called the Garden of Eden. And so the golden age is remembered in all religions, in all cultures with different names. Just like the Supreme Soul is remembered in all religions and all cultures with different names.
And the next question is from Gabrielle, and she's asking, the Supreme Soul is the same as God?
Yes, yes. The Supreme Soul is the same as God. So God is popular. And sometimes for some people, not for me, but for some people, when you use the word God, they seem to have a negative reaction. And so the reason why we say Supreme Soul is because the soul lives in the supreme abode, and also the soul is the most supreme of all souls. And so if you want to call God, that's good. You want to call Ishwar, that's good. If you want to call, Bhagwan, that's good. If you want to call Allah, that's good. If you want to call Jehovah, whatever, they're all the same. There is only one God. There is only one Supreme Soul. There is only one soul who doesn't come into the cycle of birth and death. And we call him Shiva.
I'm trying to decipher this one. I think what they're saying, I'm he in this time, thanks, not she. So I think they're asking if God is a he or a she.
It doesn't matter. God does not have, God does not have a gender. The soul doesn't have a gender. God doesn't have a gender. And so if you want to call God he, that's fine. If you want to call God she, that is fine. I call God he because of social upbringing. And also I think I have more of a relationship with the Supreme Soul as a father. And that's why. You want to call him she, that's fine. You don't want to call him she, that's fine.
Yes, it doesn't really matter. That's just the body. When I went to get my vaccination and they asked, there was a question of what sex are you? There were 9 categories that you could choose from.
Right. Nowadays,
9 categories.
nowadays, yes, you have so many
And
pronouns.
it's just a covering, right? But so I don't see another question, but I have a question for you, Shireen. Maybe you
Sure.
can explain to everyone again the importance of being soul conscious, because you were intimating or even saying directly that connecting with the Supreme Soul is based on your own identity.
Right. So the Supreme Soul is eternal. The Supreme Soul is eternally enlightened. The Supreme Soul is an eternally conscious. The Supreme Soul is eternally aware. The Supreme Soul is eternally love, eternally all of those things. But if I am not experiencing peace or happiness or love or any of those things, why is that? Or why is that we have lost this connection with the Supreme Soul? Because the Supreme Soul is constantly soul conscious. And when we become body conscious, we lose that connection. And so if I want to regain that connection, the Supreme Soul will not become body conscious, because the Supreme Soul never comes into the cycle of birth and death like we do. So the Supreme Soul will not become body conscious. So I have to become soul conscious. And so it's like a radio and a radio station, right? If you have the best radio money can buy right here, and if you have the best radio station, but if the radio is not tuned to the radio station, it doesn't matter where the radio is sitting, it's not going to pick up what's going on in the radio station. And so it's the same way with the Supreme Soul. If I want to access love, that ocean of love, the ocean of virtues, the ocean of all of those qualities, then I have to tune myself and become soul conscious. I have to do that. There is no other way.
Wonderful. And here's a question from John. There are so many of us here on earth, and there's only one God. When many of us think about the Supreme Soul, does he also think of us? How can he think of us, so many people at the same time?
Very, very good question. How can he think of us? Remember, he's very pure. He's ever pure. He's the purest soul there is. And so let's say if you're in a really good space and you're sitting down and you think, oh, I have to call my mother. And what happens? Your mother calls you, right? So what's happening is your thoughts are connecting because you're in a quiet place, all of those things. It's the same way with the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is always pure, always quiet, always all of that. And so the capacity, we have to, let me finish and then I'll say something else. We have to connect in that state of soul consciousness. When we do, because the Supreme Soul is so pure, he is able to connect with all souls. And the only way you will feel his presence is you have to become soul conscious. Then you will understand how he connects with you. So become soul conscious. The best thing, the best blessing anyone can give you, and the best blessing the Supreme Soul actually gives us is, may you be soul conscious. And when you become soul conscious, the whole universe opens up. And then you will understand, oh, this is how the Supreme Soul connects with us.
Thank you, Shireen. One more question, and I think this is a very practical question from Ashutosh. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right.
Good, you got it right.
Okay, just wanted to know if a person is unable to sit for a long time, can he or she still meditate while lying down, please?
Right. Remember, the operative word here is unable, not unwilling. If you are unable to sit because of some physical condition, yes, you can lie down. But just remember that if you are unwilling to sit and you're lying down, then the soul tends to fall asleep. So it's important to sit up. But if you are not able to, yes, by all means, lie down and meditate. And yes, you can learn meditation however you are. Sitting, standing, wherever you're walking, driving, it doesn't matter. Acha, Om Shanti. So see you all back tomorrow again. And Sister Dorothy will be your presenter tomorrow.